All right. Are you ready?
I am.
Let's go.
All right.
Is your day going well?
Yeah.
Starting out all right?
I had Patachu.
Oh, that's always a good start to the day.
Yeah.
What'd you have?
I had like ricotta whipped eggs or something. Ricotta eggs. Yeah, they were really good.
They're so good. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome back to Okayest Cook Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Whonsetler, once again coming at you from the studio. And we're continuing this chat about community. We are, I guess we're not really building on our pillar of commensality, but we're just talking more about it. You all know I love the word commensality. And we just had a beautiful conversation with Mr. Stretch about community and keeping your community healthy, happy, strong, adding to your community, building your community. And I think it was off air. We mentioned that it's often neglected or misunderstood, like how well connected everybody is. Mm-hmm. And if your community starts to suffer, eventually it's going to impact you, which most people, like, we care about us. Mm-hmm. Like, I got to take care of me, got to take care of mine. And the community is often neglected. And I'm massively stereotyping, but I am building off of, some of my experiences, my knowledge, and I related it to my injured back. Mm-hmm. And so I threw out my back a couple 5-6 years ago, and when it hurts, you know it. And when it doesn't hurt, you don't think about it. It's not at the tip of my mind. I do something strenuous and I hurt my back again because it's not something I'm thinking about. And food insecurity is one of those topics where I'm very thankful that I did not grow up with food insecurities, but because of that, it's not at the front of my brain. It's not at the tip of my tongue, and it's not something that I think about as much as I should be thinking about. And that is what I'm learning from doing this podcast and getting connected with the bigger food scene here in Indianapolis is there is a lot of hurt and a lot of need around food security, food insecurity, and all the things. And fate or divine coincidence, I don't know what it was, but I just met Sierra Nuckols, who's at the table with me today. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. I bumped into you a few different places. Mm-hmm. We met at Tinker, here and there. We met I saw you at community or creative mornings.
Yes, creative mornings.
Yeah, so they gave you a little soapbox to pitch what you're doing, what you've got going on. Yeah. And I was just like, I need to have you on the show. Yay. I need to talk to you about what's going on, like all these thoughts that are swimming around in the back of my mind. But again, because of just life, circumstances, just how I was born, like it's just not here at the front of my brain where I think it needs to live. Mm-hmm. So do you want to introduce yourself real quick and just kind of tell the listeners, who you are, what you do, and
definitely
what you got going on?
Yeah. So I am Sierra Nuckols. I grew up right here in Indianapolis. I'm from the Near East Side, 10th and Sherman area. So I guess one of the reasons I'm so passionate about food insecurity is the area I grew up in. A lot of the families dealt with that. And my mom had me at 15. Okay. So she, struggled. She always made sure I had food. It wasn't always healthy. We, ate a lot of, boxed and canned and processed foods and things like that. But I'm very grateful that she always had food on the table, no matter what. And I think the reason she made sure of that is that when she was growing up, she had lack of access to food. So she would tell me stories about growing up and just like not having anything in the fridge or not having anything in the pantry to eat. And so that really stuck with me in my adolescence and throughout adulthood. And that really is what sparked my interest in food specifically. I think I've always cared about social justice and helping the most vulnerable of our population, making sure that we, just like you talked about, things that are sometimes in the back of our minds, how do we connect and think about what others are going through, you know, our houseless community, people that are in poverty, people going through hunger or these different issues, people who've been incarcerated. You know, I've always wanted to do work in that field, but I think I really got into food because, number one, you know, my childhood and the history of my childhood, but also I've always been interested in gardening, and I really like getting my hands in the soil. I like nature. Similar to you talked about hunting a little bit, I really like gardening and growing food as well. Yeah.
My dad had a garden my whole life.
Cool.
And huge inspiration into, like, you know, where we decided to end up living. Like, hey, we need space for a garden. Like, I need my tomatoes. And I started my garden as just like, hey, I need pizza toppings. So let's grow all those. And again, pillars of the show. Like, we love, you know, good quality ingredients, you know, from, you know, the best place you can find them. So like a beautiful farmer's market, if you can grow your own, like 100%, like that's going to be way better than anything you can buy at the store. Mm-hmm. And often cheaper too. That's a rabbit hole we don't need to go into. As far as like, if you're going to build your own garden boxes, there's a lot of upkeep and whatnot. But if we're only thinking about the seeds, maybe it's cheaper. But.
And there's a lot of ways to garden that are more affordable. Just I'm really interested in learning about or teaching people about that. We have a garden, community food box project. We have a garden in Hallville, and we partnered with iDoc Watch in Focus. They have a plot of land over there. It's probably 1/10 of an acre. It's pretty small, but we partnered with African growers last year. There's a group of 8 growers who work together, and they have maybe 3 or 4 different plots of land that they grow on for their community. And the idea was a cross-cultural sharing. So being able to learn from them, what produce do you grow, and how do you, harvest the vegetables? How do you grow them? What are your techniques? And trying to expose that to the community. And we also work a lot with BIPOC farmers, urban growers here in the city. I made some really strong connections over the years with a lot of farmers, and doing some advocacy work around that, because unfortunately, when we talk about food apartheid, which is essentially a term that it's a term coined by Karen Washington out of Rising Root Farm in New York, and what she's saying is that the system relegates certain groups with food opulence, meaning, access to fresh produce, access to healthy foods, and then certain groups with little to nothing at all. So, and a lot of that is racialized, unfortunately. We see our BIPOC communities affected the most by this. And so it's also class. So, of course, there's people in poverty are dealing with that. And so, anyway, I forgot what I was talking about. But, I think making those connections with BIPOC urban growers is important, because they are disenfranchised, first of all, because it's really hard to compete for grants and things like that. So I think one of the things I like to tell people is to always support local urban growers.
Yes. Well, I mean, definitely the best food you can possibly eat is the stuff that's grown locally. It's you're eating it at peak freshness. So, like, A, it's going to taste better. B, nutritionally, it's the best it's ever going to be.
Yes.
Versus something that's been sitting on a truck or sitting on a shelf deprive it of oxygen to quote unquote make it last longer.
Right.
But yeah, and you're supporting local people, which is beautiful and fun. I'd love to talk more about the gardens, but that's how big of the community food box project. Like, how big is that garden portion of that?
Well, we just started that initiative last year. Okay. I actually expanded. So my 501c3 nonprofit is actually called Cultivate Indie Inc. And Community Food Box Project is a DBA under that. So it's a project under that, even though I started Food Box. I know. I started Food Box first in 2016, but over the years, I've gained experience in advocacy and local growing. So
that's beautiful.
So I wanted to expand to incorporate all of that under Cultivate. Yeah. But I like to tell people about Food Box first because it's the thing that's been around the longest. But we just started
I think it's easier to, and we'll dip into this here in a bit. But like just the fact that like you can pick up food that's essentially ready to go. Yeah. We live in Indiana. If you get listeners and watchers aren't aware, and our growing season is not 365. So, and even, it's not even 50-50. So like, there's only a finite time where we can grow food, and then you have to preserve it if that garden is going to sustain you year round. So if you don't have land to have a garden, or if you don't have a porch to have a little mini garden, and then you don't have preservation methods, like that garden's not necessarily going to benefit you that much. So I love the idea of the community gardens, and I would love to get more of those everywhere.
Same.
Just for the oxygen, just let's grow more plants and stop paving the world. Yes. And just like, there's so many pockets. Like, it doesn't take much to have a ton of produce.
So true.
Gosh, what do I have at my house? I've got 3 4 by 8 foot beds. One of them's all strawberries and asparagus, and the other 2 are like a mix of tomatoes and peppers and lettuce and carrots and whatever we can throw in there. But it gives us way more food than we can use, and a lot of that honestly is just going to the compost, just to fertilize and fuel the next garden. Right. So I need to work better on my preservation, but like just those tiny little boxes produce a ton of food.
Absolutely.
So if we could have 1/10 of an acre here, there, and the people willing, unfortunately, to maintain it, keep it weed free, keep things thriving, it could feed so many people.
Absolutely. Yes. And I think that was why I wanted to partner with growers who were actively looking for land anyway, because sometimes it is hard sometimes folks don't have the capacity to keep up with gardens.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is. It is a lot of work, or they don't think about maybe putting it into their budget to pay someone to, take care of their garden. But that was the reason we wanted to partner with them, was it was perfect because it was like they already needed it. The space, and then we had the space, so why not do some of that community sharing? So
do we have connections with rooftop access? I want to see like more rooftop gardens. How hard is that? How hard is that? Architects and engineers. There's a lot of flat roofs here in the city. Like the building we're in right now has an extremely large, extremely flat roof.
Yes. I think the
dirt gets heavy when it's wet, so like
I know,
but like it doesn't take much depth wise. Can we just like coat the city's roofs with gardens? Like, is that a thing?
That'd be awesome.
That'd be so cool. Side note.
No, I think Eskenazi has a rooftop garden.
I know they have something with what's that restaurant right there?
I don't know.
Curse of the Creative. We talked about it last episode. I can see it, but I can't say it. There's a restaurant there, but they've got a really neat rooftop garden at the restaurant, I think, too. So let's do that. City planners, let's get this in the works here. But we're not on a side tangent. I wanted to talk to you about what you've got going on with the food boxes.
Absolutely,
because that's what we learned, or that's what I learned you did at community mornings.
Yes.
But before that, we're a little off track again, as usual. Let's talk about notable meals. Have you eaten anything cool lately?
Yes. So I couldn't pick between 3 different places. If you don't mind, I want to talk about all of them.
As much as you want.
So I had an amazing meal recently at Latte Injera Cafe it's also in Hallville.
Say it again.
Latte Injera, so it's Ethiopian place.
Oh, sick.
Yeah. And I actually just saw them on an Epicurean reel on Instagram. And so I was excited that they're getting some promotion because they actually are right next to that garden that I was talking about.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. And I went in there by myself because I like to eat by myself. I go places and eat. And the owner, there's 2 owners, I think they're husband and wife, and the owner came out and actually ate a meal with me and talked to me the whole time, and that was just really cool.
The extrovert that I am, we talked about this with Stretch, is like I need people. Like I need a community. I need a place. And I made a rant about people that just get their takeout and they eat it in the car.
Oh,
and to me that bugs me. Like it gives me anxiety. I don't like it as an extrovert. So the fact that the owner came to eat with you, I think is the most beautiful thing, and I would have loved it.
Oh, I loved it. I'm also an extrovert, so I understand. And then the 2 other places, Tinker Street, of course, gotta give them a shout out. I got to have I ordered a salad. It was the endive salad, and then I added on the fish of the day, which is halibut. It was a halibut that day, and it was just so refreshing and amazing. And then lastly, my favorite restaurant in the city is called Sahara. It's in Broad Ripple on the main strip, and I always go there. So the owner, his name's Muhammad, he brings out tea to everyone that comes in and like lets you drink tea for free, and then sometimes they'll bring you dessert, and just very hospitable. So
that's super cool. What type of food is that?
So he's Jordanian and his wife is Palestinian, so kind of like South Asian food. So
I love it.
Mediterranean, I guess.
That's some of our favorite.
So
Greek
you
food.
gotta go check it out.
100%. Well, I'm gonna go to the Ethiopian place. I mean, that's 100% my favorite coffee. So if nothing else, I'll be there for the coffee.
I haven't tried their coffee yet. So
like hands down the best region of coffee.
Okay.
Like, I will fight anybody.
Yeah.
Ethiopian coffee is top tier. Well, it's funny you mentioned Tinker. We talked a lot about Tinker with Stretch, and that is where my notable meal is coming from. And I just talked about the shiitake custard. Have you tried that?
Shiitake custard. Oh, because you did the tasting menu.
I was at the tasting.
So you got to taste all the cool stuff.
I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about it, but I am, because I told Stretch it's like seriously one of the top 5 things I've ever eaten. Wow. It was that good. It made a mark.
That's amazing.
Like I loved it. But at that tasting again, they had cream cheese ice cream.
Wow.
And it's almost exactly like you'd expect it to taste. It's got kind of that, I don't want to say sour, but like that cream cheese vibe, but with like a sweeter, more savory ice cream, if you can call it that. But it was gorgeous.
That's awesome.
I'm not a huge like sweets guy, so I don't need like a big old hunk of chocolate cake and just sugar. Like I don't need that. And it was like just the right balance.
I love that.
Sweet and like, I think cream cheese is savory. So it's kind of that weird balance of sweet and savory that I've been really digging lately.
Nice.
And like the whole menu was just outstanding, exquisite. So get over to Tinker and experience that. Travel here if you're not a local, but you will not regret a meal at Tinker Street. And if they've still got that shiitake custard and this cream cheese ice cream, like if you don't get it, you're missing out.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, on that note, kind of the segue into the rest of the episode is I saw one of your food boxes right there at Tinker Street. And I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like my back. If it's not hurting, I don't think about it. And for whatever reason, like I don't recall seeing these boxes
Okay.
around, and I'm a male, a very stereotypical male, and if I'm not looking for it where I expect it to be, like my mind just looked right past it. And like I said, because of how I was raised, how I grew up, like again, food insecurity is just not at the forefront of my mind. So I imagine I've walked past these boxes dozens of times, and just because you're 10 years old, and it hasn't connected. But for whatever reason, like I was walking into Tinker one day, and like it was right there, and it was a really beautiful box. I think it was a honeybee painted on it or something, and it just hit me of like, this is awesome. It's like those little free libraries, all over the place. But it's food, and I've seen them here and there. They weren't your boxes, but like other people doing it. And I think it's a beautiful idea. But let's talk about that a little bit, and kind of you've already mentioned kind of the heart and soul behind why this is going. But do you want to talk a little bit more about like where can people find these boxes, and what's going on with the boxes, and who are they for, and all the things?
For sure. So I'll start with, the inspiration came in 2016 when I went to South Africa with a group of young adults, and we learned about the anti-apartheid movement, and I knew I wanted to focus on food. So when I came back, part of the program was I need to implement something in Indianapolis. So I saw a news article about the first little free pantry in Arkansas. And it was this lady named Jessica McClard. She made a little free pantry out of that idea of the little free library. So she said, hey, I'm going to build this box outside, and I'm going to start putting pantry items instead of books. And I thought that it clicked. I was like, that's it, because it just kind of made me think about how many people can benefit from a box like that. And so I reached out to Jessica and partnered with her, and then partnered with Nuvo, started taking some, I thought I want to recycle something instead of building it. So my first boxes were Nuvo boxes. Oh, cool. And then my first box was at IPS School 56. And what I learned throughout this process of, creating these boxes is it does go back to community. Like, we take care of each other. That's all we have. And
we need to.
We need to. Yeah. And so I got to see this beautiful thing unfold in front of me of, I started partnering with schools and community centers and libraries, and the staff of the organizations or the children at the school, they'd come together to design the box and paint it. So it became this kind of collective art project too.
Yeah, well, it's theirs too, and I think that gives you more pride, and you want to talk about it.
Yeah,
that's cool.
It does, and it becomes this like living, breathing thing within itself, because then you have community ownership over something where you can provide a resource to someone. And so essentially what we encourage people to donate to the boxes are non-perishable food items. We have seen produce be donated, and I just I don't mind it, but we're not technically supposed to, because it can go bad. But I'll tell you, it gets taken really fast. So, but anyway, we like to see granola bars. Canned vegetables are okay, but those get donated a lot. So I encourage things that are easy to open, so tuna cans, easy protein items.
There's your most recent post, or one of your recent posts on Instagram. Follow the Community Box Project. What is your handle?
It's just at Community Food Box Project.
Follow them. You made a post recently about just the ability to open a can is sometimes tricky for people.
Yes.
So I think one of your users commented like, hey, we need like pull tab stuff, like things that we could just open with no tools or whatnot.
Yep. So that's why I made that post, is just encouraging folks that things that are high in protein or nutrients that are easy to open for people, because I think what we don't realize, especially if we haven't been either food insecure or homeless before is it's really a state of emergency. So it's like people need things immediately. And that even includes young people, children, young adults, we have boxes at schools because a lot of times kids, their only meals are at school. So then there's been federal cuts to programs to feed children in the summer and things like that. So I think I would say there's increasing need, but I also would say that under the current system we live under, we have always had food insecurity. It's just more magnified right now.
Yeah.
So.
Well, there's getting food is hurdle number one.
Yes.
But then getting good food, I would say, is hurdle number two.
Exactly.
And a lot of times the food that is provided under some of these programs, and I'm not super educated. I'm not a master of anything. Some of it's speculation. But also some of it's just like convenience, and like a lot of the stuff that's convenient and cheap isn't good food.
I know.
And like it might fill your stomach, but like it's not fueling your brain.
I know.
And especially with kids, like we need to fuel that brain as much as we can.
I know. And that's where it's sad that things like food boxes have to exist anyways, I think.
Well, that and the cuts, like why are we cutting essential things that like it's our future? Again, going back to kids, like why aren't we treating our future with more care and more respect?
Yes, exactly. I know. And it's like, I want to look beyond, I want the conversation for folks and people's reflection to go beyond the food boxes and into that idea of what is the root issue and why do we even need food boxes, and how can we work toward not ever needing them again?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Well, Stretch's big tip was just get out in the community. And we talked a lot in that episode about our bubbles, and like we've all got our own little family bubbles, our social bubbles, our work bubbles, but there's a lot that connects to that bubble that we aren't aware of. And it's not just your bubble. It's like a big old spider web. Like my bubble touches your bubble, and it's, I guess a Venn diagram might be a better way to put it. Like our bubbles are overlapping a little bit. And if one bubble starts to pop, like it's just going to set off a chain reaction that's just going to devastate everything. So using Stretch's tip of just get out in your community, just if it's not in the front of your mind, the food insecurities, just taking care of your community. If it's not in the front of your mind, like we need to get it there somehow.
Yes.
So like expand your bubble or get outside your bubble and just start taking care of our community, because like I said, if it starts to collapse over here, like it's just gonna domino everywhere.
Absolutely.
So do you have any tips and recommendations on, like, again, for somebody who's not struggling with food insecurity, like how do we bring that to the front of our mind more?
Definitely. I think one way is, first off, if you have the means to and you can, is to donate to boxes on a frequent basis. So even if it's bi-weekly, you'd be surprised at how much that impacts someone. If you're going to your local food box once every 2 weeks and just filling it with essentials, you're really touching somebody, because they're in a lot of times immediate need. Sometimes folks donate things like tampons or toothbrushes, and that just provides more dignity to someone that is like racing around trying to find a resource and they can't.
And toothbrush, toothpaste.
Exactly.
Things that we...
So that's one way, but I also think checking out local classes or events is great. Connecting, like we talked about, connecting with local farmers. Maybe you go to a farmer's market, or you Google different farmers around the city that you can connect with. I think farmers are really open and willing. They love when people are interested in what they're doing, because it's really hard work. So that's a way to get folks out of their bubble of like, we tend to just go to even I do, go to the grocery store, get what we need because it's convenient. But how can we take that extra step that might even cause a slight inconvenience, but it might help our community or get us outside of our little kind of flow that we have created in our lives, our little bubble. So
well, it's you got me thinking here, and I'm trying to spin a couple thoughts together into one. So bear with me here, but like going to the grocery store, and I'm thinking like, how can we just become more proactive at these things? And one challenge I think I'm going to throw out to everybody is every time you go to the store to buy yourself food, let's buy just one thing. Start with just one thing. Again, if you can and you're able, get a whole bag. But start with one thing. I mean, what's a can of tuna cost?
Right.
$3, if that.
It's probably way less than that, yeah.
Start with a can of tuna, something high protein, something super easy to open, and just find a box. And that's where some of the disconnect, I think, happens, because a lot of the boxes, I'm assuming, are not close to grocery stores.
Oh, yeah, not really.
Because, I mean, that's if we're talking about like the food deserts.
Yes, they're mostly in food desert areas.
And and that's a tricky topic as well, because it's not always about just location of things, but it's also about the ability to even purchase something at the store.
Yes.
So find a box every single time you go buy yourself food.
Yes.
Buy one thing, go out of your way to find that box and deliver it before you go home. That's a challenge I think I'm going to put on myself.
I love it.
Just to keep it at the front of the mind. And what else can we do? I mean, to take that a step farther. I mean, I'm assuming there's ways to get involved physically if you want to donate time and energy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So we always take donations too. So for example, if you're one of the people that you're like, I don't want to go outside my bubble, but I have $10-20 I can send you or whatever, we do have a donation link on our Instagram, and our website is down. We're revamping it, so that should be up in the next couple of weeks. But that one is communityfoodboxproject.org. So once that's up, definitely check that out. But we do have bi-weekly volunteer meetups, and so we invite the community out every other Thursday. So just yesterday was our meetup, so it would be 2 weeks from this Thursday, but we post those updates on Instagram as well. And so it's every other Thursday at 6 p.m. at our office. It's at 609 East 29th Street at Broadway United Methodist Church. And so when we get together, we plan, we talk about, we send volunteers home with a box of food. We have shelves in the office, and so we'll send them with a box of food to take to their local food box. We plan different programs we're going to do for the year. We talk, we discuss, we check in with each other. It's another way, like going back to your idea of community. I think those meetups are not only like, oh, we're just going to sit here and plan. Like, we laugh, we have fun, we order food sometimes, we just have a good time together. And I've built great relationships with the volunteers. We have about 5 to 10 that come regularly that have kind of stuck around for the past year. So you're just building a community. I love it. I love
it. Back to the donations, I'm assuming we could set up like a recurring donation.
Yes.
Go set up like a $5 recurring donation and just forget about it.
It's a great way to do it. Don't let
one of those apps tell you to cancel it, because what's $5? Like,
right.
For most people, like, you can handle $5 a month. Again, if you're not willing to go buy a can of tuna and find a box, then send them some dollars so they can do it for you. Where do you have a map of where these boxes are, or a general?
Yes, so I have, again, on Instagram, I have a pinned post of most of the locations. I left out a few, but most of them are on there. And we are working on a map. I'm working with a developer right now to have a live map. Okay. So he's almost done finalizing all the things for that.
Yeah.
And that way people can actually go in live and put if it's empty or full. Oh, okay. So it'll like turn red if it's empty. So that's pretty cool. Yeah. So like it'll become more interactive to where folks that want to go donate, they can look at the map and they can see the red ones and they'll say, okay, let me go, and then they can turn it to green. Yeah. So I want everyone to be on the lookout.
Stacked with tuna, like say, hey, like this box doesn't need tuna.
Yes,
we need something else in this box.
Mm-hmm, there's a little area for notes. So
that's cool.
That's been really a lot. I mean, that's been a lot because it's been a few years of trying to build that out, because it's like, you know, when you're working with technology, it's and trying to do something live, there's a lot of coding that goes behind it and stuff. So
it's over my head.
Yeah. So for now, use that list we have. Yes. It's split up into areas of town, and it has all the addresses.
Love it.
And then be on the lookout for when we launch the website. We'll have that map on there.
I love that idea. I love technology, but I'm not the best.
Me either.
I've reached the age where it's challenging.
Yeah.
Do you find that specific regions have different needs as far as the boxes go?
Yes. So when we first started, we used the USDA food desert map, because back then food desert was the term everybody used to talk about, you know, the disparities of food. So there's a food desert map on USDA, and you can go to Indianapolis and you'll see all the red zones. So we try to focus on those. And most of them really seem to be central east and central west.
Okay.
So there are some south and north as well, but a lot of them are closer to downtown, very central. There are some out in like Lawrence and some of the suburbs too, but
right.
I think most of our boxes are located on the near west and near east side.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So the food desert in, I'm going to say it wrong, Apartheid?
Mm-hmm. Apartheid.
Are different. Mm-hmm. It's not the same thing, correct?
Yes.
Can you talk more about that and just terms, just for listeners and watchers to digest that term a little bit better?
Yes. So food deserts, we actually ranked number 1 in the country in 2014.
Really?
For the most food deserts in an urban area. And the reason for that, really a lot of it was the closing of Marsh and the closing of Double 8 Foods, which was Double 8 Foods was local owned, and they focused on food desert areas. So they end up closing. But basically food desert, food desert means essentially that there's low access and low walkability. So if you can't walk to a store at a certain number of like blocks or miles, it's essentially a food desert because there's no stores around. And food apartheid gets more at the historical reason why. So for example, if you line up a food desert map of Indianapolis and a map of where redlining occurred in the 70s, you'll see it almost exactly mirrors each other. So that's what kind of food apartheid is getting at, is seeing how historically what has been done to create these neighborhoods and these areas, because it was done by creation. And I think that's what a lot of people miss, is that food insecurity doesn't just happen because of poverty or just because of this overnight, like, oh, well, people aren't working hard enough, so they're poor, you know. So it's actually been, it's actually been ever since the inception of this country, as we know, there's been a lot of issues with racism and poverty. So that translates to today. It just shows up differently. So you see things like redlining and just all these different systemic factors that contribute to food apartheid.
So you could almost say that the apartheid caused the deserts.
Yes.
Or it's like a major factor in why these deserts exist in the first place.
Absolutely.
And yeah. And it's, there's a lot of injustice going on, like the racism and not just like ethnicities, but also like the wealth class.
Oh,
like
absolutely.
racism like within the wealth
too.
class. And
oh, yeah.
if you could, it's the wrong term I'm saying here, but like it's a thing as well.
Oh, yeah.
So how do we go about changing that? I mean, outside of just getting more involved, just getting out in the community more, talking about it more. I mean, what else comes to mind as far as like how can we help? It's going to be we're walking uphill here in the snow both ways. So
absolutely.
Where do these conversations start, and like what's next to make it not a thing anymore?
Well, I think, first of all, starting the conversation, I appreciate you having me on today for that reason. I think, number one, what a lot of people don't realize is there's a lot of grassroots and mutual aid organizing happening. And a lot of times those folks don't have the means or the resources to expand out to try to bring people in to what they're doing. I think I believe a lot in grassroots, meaning that folks like your aunties in the neighborhood that are cooking for the neighborhood, people who are, I've met people who deliver meals to seniors in their neighborhood, and they go unnoticed. They're like these silent heroes that are doing all this work with either their own funding or, they have very little of it. So I think trying to get to know, and this is one of the things I want to do with Cultivate Community Food Box Project, is develop more of a platform for those people that are doing that work, so that we can all start to get behind them and celebrate them, cheer them on, even ask, can we volunteer? Can we donate labor or money to you? Because really that, I think, is a solution to this issue. I think also offering, if people have land, offering it to people who want to grow food is important. You talked about gardening and
talk to Jason Michael Thomas. He'll get the city on board. He's fought those battles.
Yes, absolutely.
Convert your front lawn to a strawberry patch or tomato garden.
Yes, and I think one of the other things that I learned about local food policy as well is we need more voices at the table. So there's a Indianapolis Food Advisory Commission that meets every month. And a lot of decisions are made in those rooms without, a ton of community input. So research them and look up Ordinance 337. That's a local ordinance that was passed during COVID that's supposed to help BIPOC farmers. And unfortunately, a lot of that funding gets kind of lost in the top. And we lose that ability to connect with the community of like, what do we want to see? What about the aunties feeding the seniors? I think that's where we start to at least have the conversations, because food justice, I think, needs more of a forefront. Like, we need more of a voice for that. I think there's so much going on right now too. I mean, there's a lot of conversation around education, all these different topics, but I think food justice is a really important topic, and I think that we need to start having more of these conversations.
Well, inserting yourself, I think, could be a lot more powerful than people think.
Yes.
So again, just my 2 cents, and I don't follow politics and all the things. It's too complicated for my little brain, but your voice matters more than you think.
It so does.
Michael over at the Third Space podcast does a great job of talking about these meetings where, like, hey, it's an open mic. You can go give your opinion. Go talk about this, because a lot of the decisions, in little governments and big governments are made by people who don't have a foot in the race.
Yes.
They're not struggling with this insecurity, so it's not at the front of their mind. So how can you make this decision that impacts a huge community when you're not even thinking about the community?
Exactly.
So yeah, their voice needs to be heard. And if they can't make it to that meeting, we need to go for them, because we're all in the same community. Like, we're all in this little boat. And if it starts sinking, like, we're all in trouble.
Exactly.
So, like, let's take care of each other.
And I would even say, I think what I realized being in some of those rooms when I was working in policy was even just having a face there. You know, sometimes you don't even have to say anything, but even being there to intently listen, it causes folks to start thinking about what they're doing or saying. So so even just showing up is really big.
Yeah. I mean, education it's a big pillar of ours here on the show, mostly centered around food education. But it 100%, that's something I need to work on better, is trying to just understand policy and politics.
Me too.
It's a lot. It's a lot to digest.
It is.
But having cool channels, again, like Michael, who understands more of that, and he's able to break it down into simple terms. Like, I could use some people like that. So what happens if this goes away? And by this, I mean, like, the Community Food Box Project and other organizations like you. They stop getting funding. They stop getting talked about. You disappear. What's going to happen? So
if that happens, I think we would just see more people not getting, their basic essentials. I think the very specific niche that the little pantries cover is that 24-hour access. Of course, when the box is full, but pantries are only open certain hours of the day, and it's honestly just not feasible for a lot of people to get to them. Sometimes dealing with different issues like transportation, or also the barrier of having to put down your demographic information, like your name and things like that, is a barrier for people. So having that just ability to go get a meal, I think, or get food. I think some other organizations doing good work, like Food Not Bombs and Big Homie Ace Foundation, they set up once a week at the exact same spot every week, and they serve hot meals. So that's another resource where if that went away, people wouldn't be able to count on a hot meal on that day.
And it's a weird question for me to ask, but that's kind of where my mind goes. It's kind of the what ifs, like playing out these little board games in my mind of like, okay, if we take away this essential need that a lot of people have, I mean, is indie just gonna wither? And like, again, it's a big part of the backbone, I think, is just they're gonna have to leave or go somewhere else where they can find food and hot meals. And again, it's just that community, that bubble, the bigger community bubble is just gonna start popping and shrinking, and I think it's going to impact a lot more than anybody thinks. Again, if food is taken away. And
I agree.
If food insecurity is not taken seriously and funded more, or just donated more to. Or, I don't know.
And it's unfortunate because I mean, Food Box, since we're more mutual aid focused, meaning mutual aid is essentially we take care of each other. That's the background of what that means. So we don't bring in a ton of funding because we don't take grants for a reason. We don't take major grants for a reason. So
strings attached.
Yes,
to money.
The strings. I think there are some times with grants these expectations for you to follow that can take you away from the work. And that's where I'm like, we're not going to get taken away from the work because we're not going to let this, go away from its mission. But I think, with all the cuts to funding, you start to see, and you're like, wait, okay, we really are so reliant on what's provided for us. And I think this goes back to even the idea of you hunting for food, and like it's so cool to me because it's like you're providing a resource for either your family or whoever you're feeding, that it's like it's more sustainable than relying on a system to provide something for you.
Yeah.
And I think that's been something that is purposeful. I mean, over the years, a lot of movements have been cut short or changed or withered away because unfortunately people in power, or these systems of power, have made it to where we have to be reliant on them to get food or to get essential items, you know. So that's kind of my feelings about your question.
Yeah. Well, again, it all just goes back to our community. You know, we're living in this city. We need to take care of this city. And again, if we don't take care of it, it's going to die.
Yes.
I mean, literally and figuratively, it's going to die on us. And nobody wants that.
Right.
Nobody wants that. And it's, I mean, to me, it all just goes back to the golden rule. I mean,
right.
And I'm going to treat you like I want you to treat me.
Yes.
And I would just wish everybody in the big chairs everywhere.
Right. I mean, the golden rule seems so simple. Like we all learned that.
So simple.
Yeah.
So why is it so hard?
Right.
And that's what I can't wrap my head around. Is just why is it so challenging to get people what they need? I mean, I'm able to sit down and have dinner with my kids every night, and I'm very thankful for that, and I don't take that for granted. But just opening my eyes that doesn't happen at every table.
Right.
So how do we make it happen at every table?
Yes, exactly.
There's a lot to unpack here. So I'm going to give you a magic wand.
Okay.
And you're going to wave it, and something's going to change. What are you going to pick? Be as big or as specific as you want. What's the first thing that I see you thinking real hard?
I am, because there's lots of things I have in my mind.
I don't want to see you only get one wish, but I just want to know that first thing that comes to mind. Like,
yeah, I think if I had a magic wand, I think I would make it to where all of our decisions collectively have to be for our children and for the future. So meaning any decision that's made has to be for the betterment of our future. So for example, companies would have to stop putting out emissions, or they would have to find a sustainable way, because there are sustainable alternatives to everything, believe it or not. So that would be a huge magic wand for me.
I'm just thinking about tomorrow.
Yes.
And that's beautiful. I'm glad you went there, because a lot of people would have said like, oh, I would just wish the apartheid would disappear, or the food deserts would be green and flourish, or just hot food for everybody. But I think that's a bigger way to think about all of it is, what are we leaving our children and the youths who don't have children? Do you read books?
I love to read,
There's a book, Aragon. It's like a sci-fi dragon book. Really cool book. I like it. But, oh gosh, I can't talk about this though if you haven't read the book.
Okay. I have to read it now.
I don't want spoiler alerts. If you're going to read the book Aragon and you have not, hit mute here for a couple of seconds, because I'm going to spoil the ending. I don't want to spoil it for you though.
Okay.
I hate spoiling things. Read it and then we'll talk. There's a point in this book towards the end where, many decisions could have been made, but a decision much like your answer was made, and it was beautiful and just a different way to approach the magic wand answer. So sorry for that cliffhanger. You can DM me later to hear the story.
Okay.
But I'm anti-spoiling things. I can't spoil it for you. Read the book. It's a very good series if you're into dragons and that sort of thing. But I love the answer. Yes, we need to think about our children. We need to think about the world I mean, everything we do is going to cause some actions and reactions. So like, what are we doing now to make it a better place? I mean, just a more comfortable place to live, but also quite literally a more comfortable place to live, you know, with a full stomach and, you know, properly firing brain cells because of a full stomach.
Right.
So
absolutely.
Well, I'm going down a weird tangent here. We are honestly at our time, which is mind blowing because like we just sat down.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to talk about or mention that we have not dabbled in yet? I mean, it's such a hard topic to get across to people who aren't thinking about it every day. And I'm mostly just talking about myself again because I don't think about this every day, but I need to. So I'm going to work harder to surround myself with people like you who are talking about this. So again, I think I asked this earlier, but how can we talk about this more? Just talk about it.
Yeah, no, I love that question. And, you know, I really, again, I'm going to say it again. I just so appreciate this opportunity because not a ton of people ask these questions and like are genuinely curious. So it's really cool to see someone that's like maybe hasn't thought about it before as much, but really wants to know. And it's just so cool. So anyway, I think, you know, I've thought about kind of one of my dreams is to have a community dinner at some point. Of course, the fundraiser's coming up, which I meant to mention that, but that's on March 7th. And you can find information about that on the Instagram page. But I think that's kind of one of my dreams is to host community dinners for people, feed them, and have conversations and let people just like talk, but also maybe have prompts as well of so we get a lot of different people in the room and then kind of similar prompts that you have given me today, but expand that to the wider community. That'd be something I'd love to do. I've thought about that. And then the other thing is I'd like to host some political education classes centered around food.
Yeah.
So if I one day am able to do that, I think it would provide a space for people that are curious to come and learn and not only learn, but just engage with each other too. Have that.
Or like I mentioned earlier, just make it so simple minds like mine can understand.
Yeah. Break it down.
Yeah. I love that. I would do that for sure. Like I would go to that.
Yeah.
I also love the idea of just like the open table. And just let's sit down with, you know, some of the users of the box or, you know, and just talk. Just talk. Yeah. It's, again, whether we know it or like it, this is our community. These are our people.
Yes.
We're all Hoosiers and we need to start supporting each other better. And it's not just an Indiana thing. It's everywhere.
Yes.
Which on that note, I guess, are you connected with other cities like doing similar projects? Or a lot of our listeners are not in Indiana. So like, are there places, Google, it'll pop right up. But like if you're connected with anything else, like we could link that below or
yeah, for sure. There are food boxes in other cities in Indiana, but also there's one in Texas. There's actually one all the way in Canada. So there are some that are sporadic around, you know, different cities. But I would say if you're a listener and you're not from Indy, check and see if you have little free pantries in your area, in your city. And if you don't, you can start one. Literally. I mean, you can, you know, refurbish, reuse newspaper boxes like we do. You can build them. There's an awesome template on littlefreelibrary.org. They have a template for little free libraries you can build out of wood. Awesome. So go get that PDF, build your own, put it in your front yard, you know, or put it in a local community center or something.
I'm glad you said that because my next question was going to be, can we steal your idea?
Yeah.
Because food insecurity, it's everywhere. You know, big cities, little cities, big neighborhoods, small neighborhoods, it's everywhere.
Yes.
And I think my circle, and I'm just speaking to how I was raised, everything within my circle. I think there's a lot of pride and definitely some embarrassment to admit that we need help. Mm-hmm. So I imagine that there is a lot of insecurity a lot closer to you than you think you know.
Yes.
Just because people aren't talking about it.
Oh, definitely. And to that point, we have food boxes in areas that aren't food deserts, and you'd be surprised at how many people use the boxes.
Yeah.
So I think even within our own communities, having that resource is great. And I do suggest people to steal the idea because it is a nationwide thing. Again, I partnered with someone who started it before me. So I say, I think I do encourage people to reach out so we can create a web of like connection and start to really get to know one another. But
yeah. Well, on the note of pride, and I guess I don't want to say shame, but kind of, but like, is there a safe place that if you are struggling with some food insecurity, I'm assuming like we can reach out to you directly via your socials or whatnot, or any other local spots to ask for guidance or help?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I do have, I let people come into the office often to take food from the office if they're not able to get to a food box. So that's a possibility. If you'd like to DM us on Instagram, you definitely can, and we'll make accommodations for you. But then also 211 is a good resource. You can call 211. There's also, I'm kind of blanking on it, so you might have to include it in the comments or something in the podcast, but there's an app you can download that has a map of all the pantries in the hours and stuff in the Indianapolis area. So
it's a safe place. Reach out. I would be happy to redirect questions if you want to send the Okayest cook a note. But definitely the community food box socials. Yeah, it's a safe place. Don't feel ashamed to ask for help.
Absolutely.
And certainly just talk about it. Please talk about it.
Yes, and I think that's one of the things. I'm so glad you brought that up because I don't share this often, but I've used food pantries before. Like, I've dealt with financial insecurity for many years. So this is something that, I think is not talked about enough, of how quickly we can fall into these kind of situations.
Yes. It takes very little. I mean, you're one car wreck away.
Exactly.
A lot of people from needing a lot more help than you'd care to admit.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and it's a weird climate to be living in currently.
Yes,
so,
absolutely.
Again, your homework is just the golden rule, of course. Treat people like you want to be treated. And the bigger, more important homework, well, it's not more important than that, but your bigger homework is filling these boxes. Find one close to you. Start one if you can't find one. And then literally every time you go grocery shopping, start with one thing. And then get two things. And then get three things.
Yes.
And just do what you can. Because, we all need it. I think at some point we're all going to need some help. And, whether it's food or money or just friendship, we need to be here for each other.
Yes, definitely.
We do.
Yeah. Love it.
Thank you so much for being here. I love this conversation. I need more of this. So I'm going to flag your page or whatever we can do to get more of those notifications and awesome. Fuel the algorithm with this type of content. And we're going to talk about this more and make it easier for people to talk about and hopefully make it less challenging in the future. I think is our goal.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Yeah.